Three, two.
Welcome to Cabomil News and Community Update in English. This is Korey Riggs along with Claudia Velo. Claudia, how are you today?
I am great. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. So we are, what is today? Sunday, the 18th
Sunday,
of
the
April.
18th of April. Can you believe it?
Oh my gosh. I
April
can't
is
believe.
almost over. We are a month from my birthday.
Oh, is it exactly May 18th is your birthday? Or?
Yes, it is. May 18th is my birthday.
Feliz early cumpleaños, Claudia.
Well, see, in my life at this point, after 55, I think that we have to celebrate for at least a month.
You are not after 55.
I am 56. I'm going to
my
be
gosh.
57. Yeah.
I was going to guess early 40s, Claudia. Look at you. If you're on Cabomil News on Facebook, which you can also follow us there, you can see what I'm talking about. You look so young.
Yay, thanks. When I grow up, I'm going to be like Isabelle, who looks just like beautiful and glowing and so vibrant all the time. So
Well, and we're excited because we're going to be welcoming Isabelle back to the show today. And we have a great show. We're going to talk about Lumbre, the new restaurant in San Jose. And we have Cesar Pita with it. We're going to bring him on in a second. But I know we have some news that we're going to talk about.
yes, and I think because it's Sunday and we're having a good time on this relaxing day, let's get the kind of like COVID stuff out of the way and mention
like that.
quickly that earlier this week there was some confusion because not apparently, but the federal map showed Baja California sort of going back to orange. That's the federal government saying what's happening in terms of numbers. The state government announced this past Tuesday that La Paz is going back, and actually went back on Tuesday, to level 4 because 67% of all the cases in the states are located within that municipality. The rest of the municipalities are staying at level 3. And of course, the authorities are recommending that everybody continues to follow the sanitary protocols, et cetera, et cetera. So that's that for COVID. Now let's talk about some fun stuff this past weekend. The tall ship Cuauhtemoc, which was just that beautiful sail ship that everybody saw. It's a tall ship. It's a school sail ship that had 53 cadets on board. It offered tours, and more than 5,000 people went to visit it. And
Wow.
I know that at least 1,000 of those were women who wanted to look at the handsome sailors.
Very nice. We could have follow-up. We'll have follow-up shows about what happened between them and the sailors.
9 months from now.
Oh my gosh. Anything else, Claudia, in the news?
No, not really. I mean, everything is looking good. Numbers continue to be high. All the tourist sector is very positive. Occupancy is at the maximum allowed, which is 50%. And the weather is great. The whales are going home. But you know, it's a great place to be. So
Well, I have to tell you something exciting. You know, the Fernanda Nieto, who was on, and a couple weeks ago, we were talking about the sharks.
Yes.
I'm going on Sunday. I know you were going to go, and I know you can't this time. We're going to go again, but going on Sunday, I'm so excited to go swim with the sharks.
We want the full report. That's going to be next week's news.
Well, I think she's going to bring.
I
think she's going to bring a photographer that's going to take a bunch of photos, and we'll definitely have some of those photos on the show, and we'll have her back as well. But I'm very excited. I'm nervous about it, to be honest. I saw Jaws at a bad age, but I'm very excited. She says that I will not be afraid of sharks after doing this.
Well, I want the full report.
See.
I can't wait. Yeah. And Ramadan, tell us about
All
that.
right. Well,
how's that going?
Well, it's one of the toughest things I've ever done. Where I'm on. We're recording this on Thursday for our Sunday show, so I'm on my third day of Ramadan. And as I mentioned last week, I'm doing this because one of my best friends here, Modu, is Muslim, and he does Ramadan every year. And so I have joined him along with some other people. I have to tell you, today is much better, but the last 2 days were very, very tough. it's sunrise to sunset, no food, no water for 40 days. And, but you feel it's very healthy. There's something really healthy about it. And we'll talk to Isabelle more about fasting when she comes on.
Yeah.
But there is something interesting about it. But the afternoon, you start getting a little bit tired, I can tell you.
Yeah.
And,
well, we're not supposed to work such long hours. It's not the natural cycle for humans.
Right.
And our system, our society has done it so that we work long hours, but we're supposed to sleep longer hours and really take care of our body. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Ramadan is great. I'm learning a lot about the Islamic culture. It's fascinating why it's done. And anyway, it's a great thing to do. So we'll talk more with Isabelle about it. But speaking of food and the food that I'm not eating today, we want to bring in Cesar Pita, who is the owner of Lumbre, and we want to talk about this new restaurant. I know, Claudia, you and I have both been there, had great experiences, and I know you've been back a few times.
I am a big fan. As everybody who knows me knows, I love to eat, and I love to eat good food. And I have been a fan of Cesar's cooking for several years now. Have followed his trajectory for a little while now, and was thrilled to hear that he was opening this new project. And yeah, I'm a big fan. I love Lumbre. So thank you for Lumbre, Cesar.
Thank you, Cesar.
Thank you. Thank you for visiting. Yeah.
So, Cesar, where are you originally from?
I'm from Querétaro, like 2 hours from Mexico City. Is used to be a very small state. Actually, everyone say about this small Mexico City, and it's so huge. Actually, but I lived like 20 years ago. I am here 16 years ago in Cabo.
So, casi chollero. But
chollero.
But Querétaro is the same where Guanajuato is and San Miguel de Allende. Am I correct about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's a different state, but it's the same in the same area. Every like Guanajuato 2 hours, San Luis Potosí 2 hours, Mexico City 2 hours, Michoacán 2 hours. Like it's in the middle of Mexico City.
The middle of it all.
Yeah.
Middle of the country. Very full of history. That was one of a big part of the war for independence and that historical time in Mexico took place there. So it's full of colonial monuments and churches and buildings. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I love it.
Well, Cesar, tell us about Lumbre. Tell us about your project. What is it about the restaurant? I loved it there. It's beautiful, and the food was great. But why don't you tell us a little bit about it and how you came up with the idea?
Well, yes, COVID gave me a lot of time to develop this idea. I think so. Like I check in all the places. I used to 2 years ago and develop a different kind of concept until Todos Santos to here. And every time the investors is just follow up, and just checking that place, which is in the town, in front of the towns of San Jose. And my partner, Jorge Spindola, sent me the photo of the parking and say, you can use this amazing area and making a palapa, which your asadores, your grills here, and making the real good food. And just turned my head the day I was the appointment with the lady is the owner, and just check that storage. It's very old. Anyone take the chance to say like, well, this is inside of this, it's a gold. And just I take it the lady and say, can you open the door for me? I say, no, it's not working for a restaurant. Say, can you open the door for me? And when open the door, like my heart is broken. Like when you kiss your first lady in the high school, it's like this.
You were so excited. You opened the door, and there was your idea right there.
Yeah. And just check and say like, well, this is the place. This is the place. And I take the advantage of the COVID, and every person like stay in his homes. I take this guy is working in my forest, make all the equipment for us, which is a very good, but it's from Miraflores and it's artisanal, and it's a product from La Baja. And well, just start to develop the idea with Jorge, and just it's the time for us. Like I develop for all the projects, Esperanza, One Only, all these places, and it's the time for us, for me, for my partner. So like this is our style, this is our concept from the root, from every detail in the restaurant.
Well, you are listening to an interview with Cesar Pita on 96.3 FM, Cabomil News, and also following us on Facebook Live at Cabomil News. And Cesar, what an incredible undertaking to do this during a pandemic, considering there's lots of uncertainty. And were you nervous about this? Was you just said, I got to go for it once that door opened? How was it? I mean, that's a lot of risk.
Yeah, I know. I just talking with my investors and my partners and say, how do you look in the future in Cabo, in all these areas? So like, take the risk. Why not? 1 year, stay waiting. I can just take the risk. I start in June. I just run in all the equipment. I just run in all the plates. I design all the plates. I just contract and check in all the for all our team, and just interview guys, which is in the pandemic time, and going firing from some hotels and from places. I take the time to chance them for us in the restaurant, and just say in June, no matter what, just go. You can wait. Never. No. If you wait, it can be past like 10 years, 15 years, and just say go.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah.
And just checking. I suppose in our P&L, and say like every day 20 covers, and say like, well, I don't want to win any dollar, any peso during 7 months, 8 months. And it's unbelievable to check in. The restaurant is every night is 40 covers, and wow. I just check in OpenTable and say, no, I don't have space tonight at 7:30. If you want, come at 9:30.
Yeah. That's exciting. That's exciting moment for an owner. I can imagine. What a great, congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you.
It's great. And it's been a huge success since the day you opened. And we understand that you have plans for the near future. You are expanding. Tell us about that.
Well, I have second floor, and I suppose in the first step of the project to use for a banquets. A lot of wedding planners here in the area, DMCs, say offer this area for banquets and just offer the food. And after the 2 months and a half, I decided to open the second floor like a lounge area, and with bar and a small the menu, but like appetizers. You can enjoy one day if you don't have like all the menu, and just come and drink some wine, Mexican wine. I just focus in the Mexican wine and relax and enjoy the area, enjoy the restaurant. And that's it. It's going to be open in 40 days at the end of May.
Okay.
It's beautiful. I'm going to be open 2 big windows, big windows, like, and a terrace, a small terrace. You can fill in the area and you can see the church on outside of the restaurant, very close to the where is the name of the central area of San Jose?
The main square.
And you can, and you can feel it, like inside of the restaurant. You can feel it outside, like a medium. Yes,
that's great.
Yeah.
So tell us about the concept. What is the concept of Lumbre?
Lumbre is a tribute of La Baja California Sur. I love La Baja California Sur, and I have 3 basic elements: is the product, and the firewood, and the menu. As I told, I use all the plates, all the hard workings from this area. Also, the storage is from from a lady, which is a very heritage here in San Jose del Cabo, all this area. And well, I live in Copenhagen, in Spain. I'm very lucky guy. I travel everywhere, and just put all that techniques, which is I learned from everywhere, in my menu. It's a global technique. You know, it's a zarandeado fish with koji, with chiltepin, and here I'm from Querétaro. The pambazos is every night you can eat at the streets, but the pambao from Korea combined with the carnitas, with the shiitake, with the black mushrooms, and with the black beans and hoja santa is making a real good flavors. I just put all these things in the menu, and when you read, is you can feel like, what is that? Like it's different, and this is the reason I just offer something new from that area and the new style of cuisine of Baja California Sur.
Well, Claudia, what's your favorite dish there? What do you have to get every time you go?
Don't get me going. Don't get me going. I have so many. And here's where I think Lumbre really sets itself apart from many other places, because they managed to take things that most people go like, yeah, they're okay, but I don't love it. For example, beet salad. We've all had the beet salad with the feta cheese. We've all had it, and it's great, but at the end of the day, it's beet. Usually it's boiled. Their beet salad, it has this Indian yogurt, and then the beets are grilled, and then there's like this caramelized pistachio nuts and a little bit of a citric tanginess to it. So, beet salad, which normally I would say, it's all right. No, this beet salad's amazing.
This is not nice, Claudia. I still have about 6 hours to go because I'm fasting, and now you're making my mouth water with this beet salad.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And then the other, like the zarandeado fish. Again, I would normally not ask for zarandeado because the traditional zarandeado recipe has mayonnaise in it, which I don't love. But Lumbres, it's not like that, and they managed to get it super crispy on one side, but then still juicy and delicious on the other. And they add like mustard greens, and they grill the lemons, and so the lemon juice is tangy but sweet. No. I love Lumbre.
Oh my gosh,
Thank you, Claudia.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable description. That's great. Well, Cesar, what's your favorite? Do you have a favorite on the menu that a must try that people, when they come there, they got to try this?
I say this, but when I live in Spain, very close to France, in the Basque country, and just travel to Provence and eat that escargot à la bourguignon. I love it with a white wine. And I say, I'm here in Baja Sur. I love Baja Sur. When I use, like with my escargots, I use the oysters with the French fries, with a vocal puree on the grill. It's amazing flavor. You combine two techniques with the produce from here, from local. I say the same, like the pambazo. I love the pambazo. When in the restaurant, my grandparents every night eat the pambazos, and I just replant that recipe in my way, and use like pambao with the mushrooms and the black beans, with the sunomono, Japanese sunomono. You have the confit carnitas, black beans with the shiitake, and the pambao from Korea, and the dashi from tomatillo sauce from everywhere. And when you feel it and you taste this, it's like different kind of pambazo, but at the end it's pambazo.
Also, you mix. It's not the regular pambao, because you mix the is it guajillo pepper that you put?
Yeah, guajillo pepper. Yeah,
guajillo pepper into the dough. So the steam bun is not just a regular steam bun, but it's a guajillo flavored steam bun. So very.
Go ahead.
Sorry, but all the menu, I love it. All the menu, I love it. I love it, really.
Yeah, it's not obvious at all. I wish we could find someone that was actually enthusiastic about their food. Actually, your passion is infectious, Cesar. It's nice to see. And Claudia, you also. I mean, it's like you guys are, wow. I don't know if I have two people ever been so passionate about food talking like this, but it's very, very nice to see. Well, we know you're in downtown San Jose. What's been the experience? What type of visitors are you getting? Are you getting locals mostly? Are you getting people that live here part-time, visitors?
It's 40% of our visitors is from the hotels, and 60 for locals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just start with 90% locals, and it's gonna be increased the visitor from the hotels. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Cesar, we're gonna keep this conversation going over the break, so people can watch it on Facebook Live. But thank you for coming on the show. If you want more information from Cesar and you want to hear more about Lumbre, we'll make sure that you have how to get in touch with Lumbre. We'll have that on the Facebook page at Cabomil News. And there'll be bonus material with Cesar on Facebook. So watch us there. We'll be right back.
And
all
here's
right.
Isabelle. Perfect.
Oh, good. Look at that.
We're so good.
Anything else you want to touch on, Claudia, with Cesar?
No, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, the historic center in San Jose is really kind of like coming back to life. There's a lot of new places. So just kind of, if you want to talk a little bit about how that vibe is developing, Cesar, I think that's kind of cool. That there's more restaurants, more bars, more things to do, other than just the art walk, which used to be the big driver for people to go to San Jose at night. Well, in the evenings.
Yeah, I just say is the new era of all Los Cabos, with a new kind of cuisine in all San Jose del Cabo and San Lucas, and actually it's from Todos Santos, Pescadero. All these places offer a new style of restaurants. Like, the vibe is amazing. Something like in the past, when you go to San Jose del Cabo, it's some restaurants with very good, but it's just a few. And if you have a more offer, the people more visit. And this is very good for everyone here, live in Cabo San Lucas, in San Jose, in all Baja Sur. This is the reason, like, the vibe is going to be increased every night. Every night you can go walking one cocktail or eat the pambazos, the oysters, walking on that street. You have a lot of restaurants there, and the vibe is increased. Tonight is amazing. I never expect this in the past months. Every Thursday is completely full, and it's amazing. You can feel the people enjoy the walking around these streets, all the church, all the restaurants, and it's happy to stay here. Like,
excellent. Well,
yeah.
Cesar, congratulations on doing this during the pandemic, and we're so happy it's a success. It's great to have that downtown area just full of life, and you have added a lot to that.
Yeah.
Thank you. No, thank you.
Congratulations. It's great
for inviting me and take part of your program. And thank you, Claudia. Thank you, and
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for making me very hungry too.
the next time I can visit in the program, and I can give you some oysters for the middle of the day. And
sounds good.
Yeah.
And some of that Mexican wine you were talking about too. That's what I want. So
always.
We just have to get past this month of Ramadan, that I'll be ready to do it. So we'll be all over it. Perfect. Cesar, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Just if you can share in my Facebook, my Instagram.
Yep.
Your program is amazing. Sure. You can look in Instagram, Lumbre Rest, in Facebook, okay. Lumbre, and if you want to follow me in Instagram, Chef Cesar Pita.
That'll be all on the Cabomil News page on Facebook.
Sure. Yeah.
So we'll have it all there. So
excellent.
Thank you again.
Thank you, Cesar.
Thank you both. Thank you, Claudia. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Isabelle,
Hola, Isabel.
Hi.
how are you?
¿Cómo estás? Good, and you guys?
Good,
Very
good. What's happening today?
Oh, lots actually.
Well, we're excited to have you back. We're excited to have you back on the show, and
Yes.
you're going to be we want you to be like a regular guest sometime. So not every week, obviously, but in vez en cuando.
Yes.
When you
I'm very excited about that.
Are there any things you'd like to talk about specifically today?
Yes, and I've got stories that connected with that, which stories are always good for people. So I want to talk about hydration because it's getting hot.
Yes.
And also specifically with also exercise, hydration. Should you drink water? Some people arrive and they drink during their exercise, but it isn't enough. Also, choose your fitness style according to what you like and so on. I want to talk about active warm-up and also active stretching. I have a story with that because right now, it's been about a month or so. I see people are very hardcore back into exercise, which is great. But I'm also seeing we're heading for a lot of injuries, and because I'm part of looking at what people are doing exercise wise, I'm part of groups. So I can observe and see that, and I want to talk about that because this is very important for people. And I've got stories connected with that I think people are going to go, oh my God, yeah. I better think about this right now before I head the way she's talking about. And then you talk about Ramadan. So I'd like to talk about the issue of self-regulation, which is the biggest issue. And it's really cool that I know that you're doing Ramadan because maybe we could.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it up. I'm gonna bring it up when we get back on the radio. We're on Facebook Live, so there's a lot of people watching this now. But that's what I'm gonna bring up with you about where I am in the fast, and and it's so interesting that you're talking about hydration because that is by far the hardest part of this. It's not the food, it's not having water or anything all day, and also just regulating myself to know how much exercise I can do. We know our friend Modu does his regular job, and he just goes for it. And I remember when many years ago, because Ramadan changes months, so it's based on the Arabic calendar, which changes to our calendar. And he would be doing it in the middle of July or August, and he would be working out, which days are even longer. And it's amazing how it would affect him. But he also told, he's been coaching me through this. There's a group of us doing this together, and it is very interesting. I feel great sometimes, like better than I've ever felt. And then it goes into, oh my gosh, this is terrible. And then why am I doing this? It's very, very interesting, but it's such a spiritual practice. And not talking about religious. I'm not Muslim, but the spirituality of it, and knowing that around the world right now there's almost 1 billion people doing the same thing. Wow. It's fascinating to know that everyone's equal. And when you break the fast, rich and poor people come together, everyone comes together, and everybody's in the same boat. And so the spirituality of it is what I'm finding. And I'm 3 days into it. It's just amazing. It's amazing.
I'm excited that you're doing it because it ties into what I'm going to talk about. I'm also going to talk about suggestion of what type of foods are good foods to break a fast from an ease and nourishing standpoint and so on. And so self-regulation would be part of that. So, and I remember because there was a picture on Facebook someone shared about me doing boot camp behind Modu 11 years ago when we just started. I mean, God, I was like this little thing. I remember that like 11 years ago. And I remember that Modu was doing it in the middle of the summer. And I got confused because I always thought it was the same month. But you're right. The calendar changes. Yeah. So now it's right now, which is April. So it's interesting.
Yeah. My understanding is that it's the 9th month of the Islamic calendar, or the Arabic calendar, and that is, it's not the same. It doesn't have, I guess, 12 months or not the same time period. I don't know all of it. I'm learning. And what's cool about doing this is I'm reading about Islam. I'm reading about Ramadan. I'm reading about other things. So it's a great learning experience.
Good for you.
I have so many questions.
when do you want to go back on the air, Claudia?
Yeah. Let's go back.
Do we have 27 minutes? Is that correct?
That is correct. 27.
And do we have another break, or are we done
2
after
minutes.
that?
We can just come back and do the summary in Spanish and bye.
Okay, great. All right. You tell me when to go.
In 3, 2.
Welcome back to Cabomil News and Community Update in English with Korey Riggs and Claudia Velo. Claudia, what a great interview with Cesar Pita of Lumbre.
I know. I feel kind of guilty now, knowing that you're not eating or drinking anything.
I know.
For 40 days. Wow.
Well, we're happy to be here at 96.3 FM, Cabomil. And you can follow us on Facebook at our Facebook page, Cabomil News, where you will see lots of bonus material with Cesar. We talk a lot about the food and wow, so good. And we also have some bonus material with our next guest, Isabelle Gagnon, who we have had about 3 weeks ago. We had her, and we're excited because we're gonna include her as one of our frequent guests because she's gonna come in and we're gonna talk about health. And it's interesting, Isabelle, before you got on, we were talking about Ramadan and how I'm doing that with our mutual friend Modu this month, not being Islamic, but I'm doing it to, first of all, honor what he does every year and also for some health reasons. And it's just been an incredible experience. I know that you're going to talk to us about hydration, exercise, what foods to break a fast, which is very important to what I'm doing right now. And the hydration thing I'm so interested in because the hardest thing I'm finding about Ramadan, which I'm on my 3rd day now, is the not drinking water all day. And that is way more difficult than not eating food, which is interesting, which is it makes the not eating food less, which you don't even notice it. It's more the water. So Anyway, welcome, Isabelle, back to the program.
Thank you, Claudia and Korey. I'm so excited to be able to do this, to be on regular on your show, because I just love to be able to have a platform like yours to share, about all these things I'm passionate about. But before we get into the comments on your Ramadan, which I'm admiring you for doing it because it's not an easy thing. I was at Lumbre for the first time at Lumbre 2 weeks ago. I was invited for a tasting menu. And I don't want to continue tempting you because I know you're not eating.
Oh my gosh, this is terrible.
It's an exquisite experience. And actually, I did do a little comment on their page, which I appreciated, because what I loved about their experience is very creative. I like the petite plates because they're small portion of different things, and it's from fresh ingredients, which I'm a very big fan of. They outsource everything locally, and it's a very warm atmosphere. So yeah, I'm a big fan. So that's my only comment on Lumbre. It's a must. It's a must go.
And you must get a reservation, right? Because it sounds like they're turning people away. So.
Yeah, you must reserve. That's a must.
That's a must. And it's difficult sometimes for locals. We're used to just showing up, but you do have to make reservations. They do turn you away if you don't have one.
Yes, and I appreciate because it's a whole experience. So they provide for the amount of people that reserve, and they want to make sure that you really have the whole experience. So the flow as well. And because we still have a restriction with COVID, they're really what I'm impressed about all of these restaurants right now is the flow is very respected. Everything's got the whole, protocol, hygiene. That's why we are so attractive as a destination for tourism, because there's a big effort to really be on as far as protocol for, hygiene and safety and so on. Very, very impressive. So you want to talk about Ramadan and hydration. So
let's do it.
Yes. I remember Modu doing it. I started with Modu 12 years ago. And I was telling you that there was a picture on Facebook of us 11 years ago in boot camp. And I remember that he was doing it in the middle of the summer when it's very, very hot here. And yes, hydration, it is said we can be, I don't know how many days without food. But without water, it's a different story. We could actually die of dehydration. So I want to talk about hydration because it's getting hot out there. And people say to me often, I'm drinking a lot of water, but I'm still feeling tired and feel like I'm thirsty. So it's not just water alone. Whether we're exercising or we live in a warm climate, we're losing a lot of minerals, essential minerals. So when we hydrate, it's very important to make sure that we have water that hydrates us. So here's a little tip for you when you break the fast, but also for people when we wake up in the morning, because when we wake up within 12 hours, well, not for everybody, I would say 6 or 7 hours, I will say, without drinking water. So we need to drink right away. The first thing we need to do when we wake up is to drink. Now, the optimal amount is 1 liter. But I always tell people, work your way up to that, because if you have not drinking, like if you drink a little glass, usually a liter might seem like a lot. And what I have people do is put a pinch of salt in the water, pink salt, or which is Himalayan salt or sea salt, because it's full of minerals. It's going to help to replenish your minerals. And also the salt really helps to activate our intestines. So some people that have constipation, that's a trick. It's wonderful. It's going to really help you to go more with ease. So it's really about drinking the whole amount of water. So if you start with half a liter, because you say, Isabelle, it's too much a liter, you want to drink that half a liter before you drink anything else. It's going to help you to flush, it's going to help you to hydrate, and it's going to help you hydrate your brain. One study, many studies with the issue of dementia and Alzheimer, which is rampant, is growing, is they have found dehydration in 100% of the cases. So it's very, very important that the brain, we need hydration for our brain as much as of our body. It's very important. And by the way, on the subject of dementia and Alzheimer's, the degeneration starts up to 20 years before the symptoms appear. So if you're in your 40s, this is when the critical years are starting to happen. So you want to make sure that you're eating for your brain as much as your body, and that you're hydrating. Hydration, it makes sense because we could live a long time on food, but we could die much sooner on lack of water. And so it makes sense really that if we're not drinking enough, we have lack of focus, and it's dangerous for degeneration of our brain. So for you, when you break your fast, water-wise, it's very, very important, Korey, to have not just plain water, to have water with these minerals. Any questions before I go to food?
No, we're gonna. I have another question, and we're speaking with Isabelle Gagnon, a well-known health coach here. Probably everybody out there knows her or has seen her salsa dancing somewhere around town, at least before the pandemic. And hopefully that's coming back soon. I know you like doing that, Isabelle. But my question is this, is the benefits, we talk about hydration, but it's interesting because the benefits of fasting, we talked a little bit about that on the last show. But there's also, what's interesting, what I'm doing right now, which I'm finding out about, is dry fasting. And there's some interesting things about that. Can you talk a little bit about that? What are the benefits of doing that?
Well, fasting, most people do intermittent fasting because it's much easier than what you're doing, which is dry fasting with no water. So it's basically like the body eating itself of what is bad. So without any interference of water. So when you have no water coming in, basically your body is starting to do the work on a dry, like there's nothing mixing it. So the detoxing effect of that, it's even more profound, and also more dangerous if you're not prepared properly, because it's not for everybody, and not everybody is in a health position to do it. Because I don't know if you remember when I talked very briefly the last time. Fasting is a stress on the body. it's known as a good stress, but it could be a bad stress if you're a person that is too stressed. Or if you're a person that is too skinny, for example, like you're below weight, it's not recommended unless you're under the supervision of a doctor or if it's for a medical protocol. So it's very important to know you can't just do that without having thought about it. And usually when you do Ramadan, and I like to what you're talking about, there's a spiritual aspect. So I'd like to hear how you feel about that, because as you start to get over yourself and the idea of eating, because it takes a lot of self-regulation, which we're going to talk about, the brain starts to kick in a different way, right?
Absolutely. It's like all of a sudden your main thing is not getting food all day, and you all of a sudden have all this extra time. And what you're saying is so true. The first couple of days, today I feel so much better. It's amazing how my body is adjusting. And even without the water, I can feel, because I fasted before with water, but I can feel a deeper cleansing happening right now. And what I was reading is that the liver gets cleansed in a very powerful way. The kidneys get cleansed, the heart, all the organs really get cleansed when there's not water involved. All of a sudden it's going after other things in your body that's getting rid of things out of your body. And again, like you said, Isabelle, it's not for everyone. It's not recommended. We're not obviously we're not doctors here. We're not recommending anything. No. It is interesting, and the spiritual aspect of it is it just gets you in another state. And the other state is, again, you come back to we're all connected, and when you just imagine another billion people on the planet doing the fast at the same time that you're doing it, it brings you together, and you see food differently. I don't want to put anything bad in my body at night when I'm ready to break the fast. There's no desire to have sugar. I'm going to be a month without alcohol, a month without coffee, and it's just an amazing change that I'm already starting to see after 3 days. And so that's the spiritual aspect of it. And what I've read is it gets deeper as you go, and
yeah, it does. And what it also does is it helps to rebalance all of your markers of health. So your cholesterol, your high blood pressure, and human growth hormones, which is longevity. And also we're losing dead brain cells at night. Like we also losing dead cells in our brain every night. So it'd be interesting to see. I didn't look at the science this way. If it kickstarts the shedding of your brain cells sooner. That's something that you're making me think I'm gonna have to look into. But talking about food and you're tending to think of breaking the fast in a healthier way. So what are you attracted to? Before I make some suggestions, what are you attracted to when you think of breaking the fast?
So the first thing that I break it with is dates, because that's there's sugar in those, but they're natural sugars. And that's what the Muslims break it with, is a couple of dates is usually what they break it with. And then the other thing I use is green tea. So I use hot green tea, and that's how I break the fast. And then after that, I'll do some egg whites. And this is all suggestions from Modu, by the way.
I knew because of the green tea. This guy is steady as the days long. I have never seen anybody in my life eating exactly the same thing and drinking the same thing after 12 years, or 13 years of knowing him. So yeah, green tea. Well, I have some suggestions with that. These are good idea, but probably not for everybody. But I would say if you can make some good organic bone broth or chicken broth, because that's the most healing food. It's known as the most healing food in the world for the gut. It's full of all of the minerals that you can imagine. And as human, we were not meant to digest muscle meat as much as collagen from the meat. So I don't know if you're going, because you're eating eggs, so yeah, you're still into animal protein. So we don't digest like steaks or things like that. That's what muscle meat is, very easily. But anything made from boiling bones and then the liver and things like that, our body is much more made to digest. And the bone broth, chicken broth, is this very, very, very healing for the broth, for the gut. It replenishes your body with the minerals that you need and so on. So that's a good way for me thinking of breaking the fast diet and adding some cooked vegetables to that would probably ease you in to get into the protein after. That's another suggestion.
Yeah, no, absolutely. After that was just a preliminary break. And then you have all the things that come after, which is I do some organic chili, some vegetable chili, a little bit of rice, but mostly I'm staying away from carbs. I'm not hitting carbs so much, but doing a lot more vegetables, a lot of fruit in the morning, because you also have to eat before. It's about 5:40 a.m. is when you have to finish eating. So I get up early, which is another thing that's happening. But anyway, that's enough about Ramadan. But it's an incredible practice, and I'll keep letting people know how it's going as we go through these 30 days. And I'm saying that with a smile, by the way. So I have 27 to go.
No, you got my respect. I think anybody that is doing this is like, it takes a lot of commitment and focus to commit to that. But to finish the subject on hydration, but going towards a different idea, is I'm part of spin classes actually at Motivated, because it's a great gym and we do a lot of exercise outside, which I like the idea of the spin class. And I see a lot of people coming in. Sometimes they forgot their water or just starting to drink water in the class, and that's not enough. Hydration should start way before we do exercise. Actually, it's 4 hours. We start 4 hours before we do exercise. So it's very important, if you're going to do exercise, if you're starting an exercise program, or if you're going to do high intensity, that you have to think of drinking enough water an hour or two before. You're going to feel extremely different. People will always ask me, where do you get your energy? Well, I was lucky to be trained by a lot of, get the information by a lot of great coaches. That doesn't come from me. And so I see a very big difference if I'm very well hydrated going into a class. That's what gives you a lot of energy. That's one of the things that I do. So make sure that you have hydration before. Also, unless you're doing a marathon, I'm going to say this again, you do not need these sports drinks. It's not a good idea. We think that this is, sports drink and, it has all kinds of good stories around them. Sometimes that sounds like it's a good thing. They're full of sugars. So if you're going to put yourself through an hour of workout, and most of people, it's to lose the excess fat of the COVID-15. They call COVID, there's COVID-15, which is 15 pounds. That's the thing I heard last week. Someone told me, you know what COVID-15 is? I said, no, it's the 15 pounds that most people gain. So if you're going to lose the COVID-15, you don't need this extra sugar, unless you're going for a marathon or you're doing something like for 2 or 3 hours outside. Plain water is good, or even if you want a little coconut water in your water, but really be careful to not defeat all of the good work that you've done, this hour of exercise that you're going to put, that you're going to go through. And speaking of exercise, make sure that you choose the type of exercise that turns you on. So I'll give you, use that. People just love to hear that because that sounds so good.
No, you have to go to the Facebook page and watch how Isabelle said that. Isabelle, amazing. Okay. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say. You got to go say Cabomil News on Facebook and just watch her when she says, turn you on. Wow. Okay.
Well, if it brings you guys to the page, I'm happy to have these little expressions for you. So I'll use myself as an example. I used to do triathlons. A lot of people know that I used to do competition a few years ago, and I stopped because I realized I'm not a competitive person from that standpoint. I like to have fun. And I remember when we used to do swim training in the morning in the sea, the girls were saying, come on, Isabelle, faster. And I go, no, there's a school of fish right now. I need to check that out first. So I realized for me that what that the triathlon training taught me is my type of training is I need to train like if I was an athlete with a goal of competing for something, except that there's no competition. There's nothing that's going to happen. What does that mean? That means that I need to go to some classes where someone is whipping my ass, like literally. It's like I'm very good at you tell me what to do, where to go, and I will zip it, and I'm going to sweat it until we're finished. That's my style of workout person. So I know that if I don't do classes for most of my training, because I also combine this with other things, I'm not going to feel at my best. So you got to ask yourself out there, what is your style of training? Because what happened is I see a lot of people going for trends sometimes, or checking what the other people are doing, thinking that's what I should be doing. We have to get curious about what it is that we like to do. And you're going to have much more. I think that it doesn't matter how much I turn the phone off and the disconnect. It's going. Did you get interruption? I'm sorry to hear that.
No worries. Keep going. Yeah, we're here.
Good. Okay. So that's very, very important to find your style and stick to it. Now I'm going to talk about warm up and stretching. Okay. And again, the warm up I learned from a coach, and it made a lot of sense. And you can do in Google and do the research. The stretching before is not a good idea, and I still see a lot of people doing what I call dry stretching. That means that you haven't warmed up your body. You're going in the gym and you're starting to do these things like this and like this. And you haven't done any type of warm up. This is a recipe for pulling something or carrying something because your body isn't warmed up. That's why you see if you're doing personal training, you have smart personal trainers that go get on the treadmill for 10 minutes or something. This is called active warm up. Like you're going to start to move the body. Active warm up is you're going to lift the knees sometimes, back, Active means that you're going to do some warm up without stretching.
And Isabelle, isn't it important too? If you stretch, you're elongating the muscles, and then if you're going into an activity where you're going to use those muscles, say a sport where you need them to react quickly, and you've just elongating them. My understanding is now the new science behind this is that you should wait till after to stretch.
I'm getting to that. Yes. So stretch is after. Before it's called active warm-up. Okay. So that means that you're going to warm up, you're going to move as opposed to stretch. So just think of lifting the knees behind, little side steps, little fast-paced walking. You can do this on the treadmill, or if you have personal trainers are great, the ones that they know that you need to warm up before. So that's before, and it prepares your body to do some of the exercise you're going to do. Now, active stretching is totally different than stretching. And I'm going to use a name, and it is a message from Modu, because I want to have Vincent back on schedule because we're heading for a lot of injuries. So I talked about everybody now is moving in Los Cabos. I'm admiring that because the whole population is really conscious about moving, starting to lose weight. We see more people with good distance at the gym, where most of it is outside. There's very little stretching that I see after by a lot of people leaving the class and so on. And so that we're heading for a lot of injuries. And stretching after is extremely important. And I'm going to give you my example of 3 years back and now, and the that I had yesterday. So back to 3 years ago, again, I was an athlete, well, so-called an athlete. I was doing a lot of sports, and I have a problem with overcompensating because of a bad knee. So I tend to use, without knowing, my right shoulder more than my left. So I walked myself right in 3 years ago to a bursitis and tendonitis. And it set me back for 6 months of physio and in the water, starting little movements like I'd never swam before. Very painful, very, very frustrating to have set myself back to 6 months like that. So I've healed myself the right way. We can talk about physio and my tips in another session. Fast forward to now, very strong, started to do spinning 3 times a week, do Fernando's root class twice a week. So when we do all of these intense training, we're getting very tight. It looks good because the muscles are starting to define, we're strong, but we're starting to be like this. And if we don't stretch enough, the tighter you are, the more we have chances, if we don't do the yin to the yang, to stretching so we can go for more, we're heading for tear, injury, pull of tendons, and so on. What made me think of that is I begged Vincent yesterday, okay, after my spin class, he said, I'll give you 15 minutes. I go, okay. And he talked about, here's what he said, which confirms what I'm talking about. Because I used to take his class a year and a half ago, and I loved him, and I'll talk about the type of stretching. He said, we had it on schedule, but not enough people want to take the active stretching classes, so it's off the schedule, which confirms my point that people don't think that stretching is enough, that it's warrant a class. Coming back to the stretching yesterday, because I have a point. Do you want a question before I
well, because we're almost out of time, Isabelle. So
okay.
we're actually going to have you over the break, and we'll have bonus material on Facebook Live, so you can tell us there. Claudia, do you have any last questions for Isabelle before we head into the break?
I think we can talk more about the active stretching off the air, but the big point here is to keep everybody aware of the fact that it's getting warm and hydration is key. So if you can just kind of wrap it up and give us 3 tips of how to remind ourselves to drink water, that'd be great. Stay hydrated rather than just drink water.
Right now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So make sure that, first of all, you start your day with a liter of water. A pinch of salt in the water, and a good quality salt. Never the table salt that we know about. Himalayan salt is the one that I like best because it's the salt that is known to dilute very well in water, and it has so many minerals, so it's the best thing to do. So water first thing in the morning, you're going to start the day with your whole body and brain hydrated. Make sure that you drink before any exercise. It's not enough to bring your bottle. You want to make sure that you hydrate before the exercise. Oops.
Isabelle, thank you. We're going to head into our break. Stay with us, and we will talk to Isabelle with some bonus material on the Facebook page at Cabomil News, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Okay. And I was going to say, make sure you show up at the bonus material, because what I'm going to get as a tip for this stretching, active stretching, is it's life-changing. It's life-changing. And a lot of people don't know about that. It's not the regular stretching.
You're up. You're telling them right now. You're on.
Okay. You can tell this is new for me, the before and after, on and off. So here's the bonus. So Vincent is a specialist in what is called active stretching, which is holding specific stretches to prevent injury. So what he did yesterday is, because I have issues with my shoulder specifically, I had my back, for example, on a big ball, and he gave me a piece of wood, and I had like the bar, and I had to go as far as I could and hold. The idea of the active stretching, which is painful for a reason, is you stretch and hold. And you usually hold for 30 seconds to a minute. And what I realized when I was finished these stretches is I had a big pain release in my shoulder. So what I realized is I was heading back to what I did 3 years ago. I was heading with my spinning and those great workout. I wasn't stretching enough, and thank God, I guess, whoever inspired me to get to Vincent right away without realizing, is this realization is keeping me from getting back to 3 years ago and having the same injury coming up and being set back for 6 months. So if you can learn something about stretching, is you want to know and you want to learn about active stretching, and this needs to be done supervised, or you need to learn how to do them properly because you can hurt yourself. But this, I promise you, is going to keep you from having injuries, and also you'll be able to get stronger and do more. Very important.
And down that line of thinking, Isabelle, one of the things I used to do a lot of power yoga, and I have switched to yin yoga. And yin yoga, we talk about that all the time. We're actually holding the stretches from 3 to 5 minutes, and it's the key to it is you go to your edge. You're not blasting through your edge, and then you're getting still and you're staying for time. It's very difficult, but the truth is my body has gotten so much healthier now that I do that. I do that at least twice, sometimes 3 times a week. And I'm doing a lot of lifting right now. I'm doing a lot of other exercising, but that changes everything because it actually gets into the soft tissue. And I think what you're talking about, this dynamic stretching, is that what you called it? Dynamic stretching?
I call this active stretching, but it's also, but also it's the fascia. What it does is, have you ever seen people like scar tissues? If you see athletes, like sometimes they have so much scar tissues, they have to take, it's very painful, a ball or something. Like you almost need a shot of tequila before you do this, because I've had that done before and it's not pretty. And what happens is because we wait too long. So by doing these dynamic or active stretching, like you said, you go to your edge, but with time, just like you're fasting right now, you can go a bit deeper and a bit deeper in your fascias, and doing some releases and keeping from scar tissues to build up. So you're getting, not only you're preventing injuries, but you're also able to take more, you're getting stronger and healthier. Very important.
And we could do a whole show on just the difference between muscles and the soft tissue, because most people only work out their muscles, and that's why they start having joint injuries. Because these stretching and the yin yoga, they get into your ligaments and your tendons and your fascia in a way that there's no way of just lifting weights you're going to do that. And so sometimes we build that muscle up so much around our joints, and then our joints can't handle it because they haven't been worked on, and they can't handle all that muscle. So it's a great thing. Well, I think I have to get going, so we're gonna have to wrap it up, Claudia. And
that's it. We only have the 2-minute bye.
Isabelle, we're going to say goodbye to you.
Can I just say one quick thing? Self-regulation. Okay. And to next time, we'll talk about self-regulation next time.
Yes.
We are going to get to we're going to have you back many times.
I'm losing you.
Get your things together. We'll have you back many times.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Isabelle.
Thank you. Stay well. Good. All right. Good luck.
Thank
Bye.
you. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
All right. 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
All right. Welcome back to Cabomil News and Community Update in English with Korey Riggs and Claudia Velo. Claudia, what a great show. Why don't you give us a summary in Spanish?
El día de hoy contamos con la presencia de Cesar Pita, creador de Lumbre, nuevo restaurante en el Centro Histórico de San José del Cabo, y también la experta en bienestar y salud, Isabelle Gagnon, quien nos habló acerca de la importancia de la hidratación y algunas recomendaciones para romper el ayuno. Y también habló acerca de la importancia del estiramiento activo.
And remember to catch us at 96.3 FM Cabomil, or go to the Facebook page, Cabomil News. You get lots of bonus material there. And guess what, Claudia? Next week, we have a very exciting show. We are going to interview someone from the Herpetological, yes, I'm saying it right, Herpetological Society in Phoenix, and he's going to talk to us about rattlesnakes. And if you're watching on Cabomil News, he's probably going to bring one on and maybe bring a Gila monster and some other thing. I don't know if we have Gila monsters here. I'm going to have to find out. But
I don't think we have them, but rattlesnakes for sure. So very interesting and important information.
And we are part of the Sonoran Desert, so it's going to be very interesting. So send in some questions on Cabomil News on the Facebook page. We'll ask them. But we look forward to seeing you next week, and stay safe out there. Have a good one.
Catch you next time.